everyone, and welcome for this video and description of the catalog module of aepp. As a reminder, this series of video are done on a personal time, and I'm not representing Adobe on this view, so I may omit and simplify or do misrepresentation of the complete Adobe ecosystem. But this is just to cover the aepp part, which is the Python wrapper for Adobe Experience Platform API elements. One of the information that we can have in Adobe Experience Platform are the dataset, and those datasets are accessible in the API via the catalog API. So we're going to first see the overview of the catalog, what it can do, and what the use case we can cover, and then we're going to use the IP APIs to access them directly into the environment. So the data that are landing in Adobe Experience Platform are actually organized in Databricks tables on some layers. So we do not have access to the Databricks catalog directly. We have an abstraction layer for the dataset, and it gives us the metadata that has been created based on those data lake informations. So the catalogs in Adobe Experience Platforms allows you to get dataset information, so modify the dataset setup, create dataset or delete dataset. It gets also a specific batch information if you want to look deeper into a specific batch loading time or number of rows recorded. And we can even have some meta information from the dataset overall in the system of the volume size, the number of record, and so on. However, there is no modification or deletion possible from a batch directly from the catalog API. There's deletion or modification could be done using the ingestion API, so you can replace a batch. We're going to see that later, but in another video. But it's only a metadata overview and description. You can, of course, create dataset based on the catalog API, and these are done using the schema reference that you need. Catalog does not show you anything related to profile store and identity store, UPS and UIS, which are the main component of Adobe Experience Platform, but it's still a relevant information that you can have from there. And actually, it's not exactly true. We're going to see that some of the information are available in the catalog API, but it's very little, and you cannot access the data that are projected to the UPS or to the UIS. Data access is done via Data Access API. So if you want to read the batch themselves, it's a Data Access API. It is now deprecated, and you cannot really use it for long-term use because it's supposed to be shut down at some point in time. The official option for coding into the data in your dataset is to do a dataset export, which is part of the flow service. And on that point, we'll go later on a different video into that. The use case for the data in the catalog is to retrieve the size of the dataset, list all the dataset and their metadata, and if it's enabled for profile, retrieve the observable schema. We're going to see what it is. Retrieve the failed batch or analyze the batch ingestion capabilities. So I'm going to start a new capability of this directly into my folder that you're going to see. Sorry. It's going to look into aepp training video here. I'm going to my folder here, and I'm going to start a new terminal and type Jupyter Lab to start a new terminal directly. Once you have started the terminal, you can see now that I have the access to the notebooks now. I have already the schema demo notebook that I have presented in one of the previous videos. Actually, in several previous videos, I used for schema manager, field group manager, and data type manager mostly, explaining you how to use them. What we can do as well is now create a new one and start from scratch by importing aepp. For the catalog, then you can say from aepp import the catalog module. And for your configuration file, you can actually do aepp.import, and using the tab, it auto-completes. And then I'm going to say aepp demo.json, I can override the sandbox, but I know the sandbox is already set up in the prod in my configuration file. So I don't need to do that. And I'm going to do connect instance equals true. And then I'm now saving this in my prod variable. The catalog is actually giving us information on the dataset, and we can list all of the dataset here. And you can see all of those dataset. Important information that there are some capability in the dataset that are not yet translated into API capabilities, such as, for example, if you want to set a data retention policy. So, for example, you can say for event-based dataset, that is very important. If you want to have a number of days, you want to have the data kept. So you can see in the experience event data distribution, normally how old are your data in your dataset. Let's see if this loads correctly. And here you can also see, you see number of 30 days, you have this amount of data. So 80% of the data is actually the last 30 days. And then you go down, and if you keep in 180 days, you are going to keep all of these record counts that are older than 180 days. You can also do the profile service settings that show the policy for the datasets. If you can want to set different retention period for the profile service itself. So once this is done, this will only impact the profile service settings and not the data lake. So you can have two retention, one for the data lake storage in case you want to reduce data lake. Also for legal reasons, sometimes you do not wish to store data for more than 18 months or 24 months. And this is for only profile service. So you can be more aggressive because there are some guardrails in Adobe Experience Platform that are such 5,000 events, for example. So in that case, you don't want to store even for 5 years if your website is very popular and some people coming a lot and you are tracking a lot of events, then you may want to actually store only the last 6 months and not the full 3 years or 2 years that you could keep still in your data lake for more advanced analysis, for example, in customer journey analytics. Customer journey analytics is using the data lake, so it's important to know that this is going to impact, for example, the customer journey analytics, and this is going to impact segmentation and all of the tools that are using the profile storage, UPS and UIS. So this capability, unfortunately, is not available yet as of today in the API section. And you can also manage the tags and also do all of these things directly via the API otherwise. So going back to my notebook, I'm going to rename the notebook to catalog demo. And now I'm going to do catalog check. And I'm going to call it prod catalog to stay in the thing. And catalog as a class called catalog that we can use with the configuration we have used below, which is the prod configuration. And now I can call prod catalog and get my datasets per example. I will save that in a dataset variable. The thing is, this is fairly hard to see. You can, let me go down. You see, he has the ID, and then here you have all of the information again. You have all of the things. It's really, really hard. What you can do when you do that, the same way that I have done with the schema, as soon as you have done the get dataset with the S, then automatically a data attribute is done, and then you can have all of the ID based on the different name of your dataset that you may know, the schema reference based on all of them. So you see this is the decision object ID and what is the schema reference for it. If we go back to the data analyst, which is somewhere down the line, then you will see that there is the schema reference to the data analyst dataset. And data analyst event is here defined by this schema that we have seen in one of the demo before. You can also have the table name. This could be interesting if you want to use query service, because each dataset is available in query service for querying, just seeing the data. Query service is not a tool to extract the data, but just to see and manipulate the data to create new data set if you have the correct license for it. And in that case, you will need to have the name, and you see the name are a bit different, all lowercase and no space, and just only underscore. And you can also have the information of this. And this is all of the information that are based in this data set. So you see the ID, the name, what type of data behavior, if it's a record, which is profile, or time series. If it's been enabled for profile, you see this one is been enabled for profile. Number of data lake rows, how many rows you have, data lake storage, how many storage it is, so you can define which one is the biggest storage, number of file, if you have any partitions, and UPS storage, schema ID, table format, file format, if they have any being used, and the query service table. So this can give you a quick overview of all of your data, and it's always a good thing that you can run that and generate that on a regular basis to make sure that you follow up the data ingestion and the data load that you have in your different data set. So that one is a possible capability of it. In the prod catalog, you can also directly access a specific dataset when you can do the get dataset without an S. Again, if you don't have an S, it means that it requires a parameter that defines the ID of the dataset you want to look. And you can do Shift Tab inside the parentheses to see what is requires as parameter. And here you see dataset ID. So if we were to take the data analyst event ID, I can just have this one here, and I can have a look of what it give me, and give me all of this information for this. Important information to know is this, for example, tell me that it's identity enabled for this. The different tags give me if the different element that have been created, and the most important one is it a unified profile, and it's enabled for true. What is my query service table, where I need to query, and this is the element. And everything I've done before was to actually showcase that and abstract those information for you, so it's easier for you to access them. You can actually see all of the now an extension that gives you all the metrics as about the storage size, the row count, and at what time this row count has been occurring, so when that's been calculated. Um, So this is, I would say, one of the main reasons you could use the catalog. The other reason would be to get the batch, and in that case, you can get batches for the information. And here you can actually have a look of a specific batch first. They always have a look at dictionary based, so it's a key, and then you can see the different thing. You can see there is a different status, and you can do analysis on the batches that are not successful, have been not successful, that have failed. You can actually look for specific information. There is a parameter for this. You can actually look for the status. You can see processing, success, failure, queue, stalled, aborted, abandoned, inactive. So you can actually do, for example, the failure method. Such failure to see if you are missing any. Oh, sorry. And you see we have some that have a failure, and you can identify them. You can also specify the dataset, and you need to be careful about that because this is dataset with a capital S. And if I want now, I can specify for this specific dataset. And then say, okay, give me the failure for, and you see there is none. There is no failure for that specific dataset, and then you can derive and get more information about the batch. There is also already information you can use by using prod catalog get fail batch data frame. So the F, you see here the limit and the order has been already defined. Here you can get all of the failed batch that have been done in the past and directly as a tabular format. And you can see the error message and the error code and which flow ID. And we're going to see at the flow which dataset ID and which sandbox this is related to. So this is sometimes very important to do monitoring in your use cases of your data management on your Adobe Experience Platform sandboxes. You can always look for a specific batch if you want. So if we look at the specific one, so in that case, we can do get batch, but without S, or batches in that case. So here you can take this, and here it gives you more information about that batch, and gives you exactly page category, expected minimum length. This one is actually 0, and this was error. And you can have a look, and it can tell you which location you can download the file. The file of the fail batch are only stored for some time, some limited time. I think it's 2 weeks. So it may be that this doesn't work, but if you want, you can try to get the data by using the prod catalog, get resource. And this get resource capability is available on most of the module. And the get resource is just simply that you can pass a URL, and this is going to be using just uh, the so you can see what it looks like. It needs an endpoint. Some parameters is needed. What type of format you can use? It's either a JSON, a text file you want to return, or raw, which is a response object from the request module that is used in the behind the scene. And then you can just do that, and it's automatically applying the header with all of the token that you have. And actually, you can have a look at the data, what is being returned. So here it's actually giving me nothing because most probably this has been done a long time ago and it's not anymore saved in the location. And I didn't look in this eventuality anymore. So actually it's not available anymore. I will try to look, and I'm already on the latest one, so I think it won't be available. I didn't have, it's a very small account, so I don't have that many error and that many batch, by the way, that are being loaded based on my implementation of this sandbox. That would be one of the reasons you can actually use the catalogs, and then you can have more data. And I may do a video later to actually do a deep investigation on the batch to see and extract what has been going wrong specifically, and you can use the different method of the catalog. As usual, you have access to this all documentation directly here, for example. And here you see all of the methods, so you can see get batch, and it's actually all of the information that you would need to know to get the different things that are available in this module. I'm looking at the prod catalog instance now. You can, of course, create a dataset. And for that, you just need either you specify the complete object directly, but otherwise you can just say, give me the name and give me the schema ID. Do you want to enable it for profile? Do you want to enable it for identity? Do you want to enable it for upsert, which would not recommend, by the way. And if you want to add some system label on it, but you can name and schema ID are the two mandatory one. And if you don't do that, then you want to specify the data, and that will create automatically a data set. And by default, it's not enabled for profile and it's not enabled for identity. It's only done if you want to do that. You can also enable a dataset for identity, enable dataset for profile, enable a dataset for upsert, and that always requires your dataset ID, and it automatically take care of creating the payload and update the dataset metadata to accommodate for the operation you want to do. One interesting capability of this catalog is to get the profile snapshot dataset. And this is an interesting part because when you have Adobe Experience Platform, there is one dataset that is a snapshot of your UPS CosmoDB database. I was explaining that the main power or value of Adobe Expanse Platform is their union profile and the capability we have to merge all of the data from different datasets into a single profile entity that merge everything and give you a 360-degree view of your users. We do not have a technical dataset access than the way we have in Query Service. We can request identities one by one by knowing the key and the namespace. We're going to do the video about that. But every day on a daily basis, we actually do an extract, and it's called a profile snapshot. And this profile snapshot is done every day, and you see that it's here. And you can have different profile snapshot because you can have different ways to calculate your profile. They are called merge policy. We're going to see that later in identities. But then it can be difficult to know which profile snapshot you want to use. Using the catalog API, then you can actually use this method to automatically give you, this is the ID of the dataset that has the profile snapshot, and it's giving you the merge policy name. It's a default time base. And you see there is another one, and here it's called merge policy name. It's cool edge merge policy, so it's only the one enabled for the edge, as we used to have we have an active on edge merge policy. We're going to cover that later, but it could be that this merge policy is different than this one, and you can actually see the difference, and you can see the two different table names in that case that you want to use. So if you look in the tags, you can see the PQS table, which is this one, which is not easy to remember. So using this method, you are able to see which merge policy you want to use, and for your PQS table, or which merge policy you want to use for creation of the segment and audiences. That is also a possibility that when you create an audience, you can specify a different merge policy to have different views of your profile, but we're going to see that later. Just remember that in the catalog, you will be able to access the different profile snapshot dataset with more additional information for you. Looking if I am missing anything on the catalog. Of course, everything that is enabled can also be disabled. It's a disable dataset for identity, for profile. You can also disable dataset validation concept if you want. You can get the latch batches that have been enabled. And there are some additional methods, for example, for extracting the data out of Parquet files, and you can streamline the JSON messages that are done, and you can also decode stream batches. I'm going to do a video about that when I find a batch that I need to investigate in order to understand what issue has been going on the ingestion of that batch. But I think that has been already a quite big introduction on the catalog. There are two main things, as I was explaining, looking at dataset metadata that we are saying here, and investigation on the batch. Additional methods and capabilities are available. Profile snapshot, creating dataset, enable dataset, and all of these are available as well, just so you know what is possible from there. Thank you. See you on the next video.